Good evening, good morning, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Your nighttime, right time DJ Music, and welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop. Here with me today, old long lost friend. I know you've been busy, but welcome back, Charwillie, to the Chop Shop. Great to have you, and welcome. Come on in here, have a seat. It's been a while. Come on,
Thank
sit
you
down.
so much. All right.
All right.
I've been fine. Good to see you.
Good. Listen, the reason why I wanted to bring you on the Chop Shop today is it's of course the main thing that's going on right now is immigration. A lot of folks are talking about immigration. Barb, what's going on in the YouTube streets? That's for another stream. You know what I mean? But on the real side of things,
Oh, yeah.
immigration is it's a big thing in this country right now, and I know, if you don't mind me saying, the part of the area that you're from in the United States, the Midwest, Chicago. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I've known Chicago, New York, Arizona, and even so much Florida. They're leading this charge of talking about these migrants that's coming into their different cities and towns. And inundating the parks. They're opening up abandoned buildings and different things like that. So, being a native of Chicago, let's just start with that. What's your take on what's going on?
They are putting the immigrants in the black and brown communities. That is something that is happening. They are trying to move us out. And what I mean by that is there are certain centers that we use, facilities, and they're trying to close some things off to us, the taxpayer, so they can house them, because they were living at police stations for months, for at least 6 months.
Mm. And a lot of the some of the clips that I'm going to bring out later on, Shar, I would imagine crime is going up, the cost of living is going up, but a lot of these programs that you say, they weren't on the table when it came to the underprivileged folks in your area. It seems to me that the migrants were, although they call it a crisis, but there is a crisis in your town.
That's right. And it's been a crisis forever, because it's really not enough money to help, or at least people maybe don't care to have enough funding for different programs. So all of a sudden, now they have vouchers, they get a stipend, they get SNAP benefits. Um, they're on the list. They even have work permits.
Mm.
Just think about that. A
Right.
person that may have had that might have had you know,
Sketchy pass.
traffic violation, or maybe something maybe a little bit, yeah, a little sketchy,
Mm.
and they can't even get work permit.
Right.
So what's going on with that?
And I understand exactly what you mean, because that is the majority of the what the complaints is the citizens of New York, of course, Chicago, what they call sanctuary cities. It's not that they don't want to help the migrants, but what they're saying is, listen, the same benefits that you're giving these people, why haven't they been extended to us, and why do we have to go through such stringent programs to get them? Would that be a fair assumption of what a lot of folks are saying in your area?
That is a fair assumption, and the actual fact, because do you know that for housing, for low income housing, that list has been closed now?
Hmm. So,
It has been closed for residents here. However,
right.
it's magically a list for migrants.
Right, and I've noticed on a lot of the clips that I've been watching, and some of the clips that you sent me, they've literally had buildings closed down. They didn't, they would not allow low-income families to go into these buildings for some reason or the other. But now that the migrants are in there, all of a sudden they can find the money to house them. They can find the adequate housing for them, especially during the wintertime. Okay, during the summertime, springtime, it's one thing, but you can't allow people to stay out in the cold, especially little ones and young ones. But again, my heart goes out to them people, but what about our own? Because there's a lot of us that are in the cold right now.
Right. I mean, affordable housing is not that affordable since you know, COVID. A lot of landlords have increased their um, rent,
Right.
and they're asking for people to pay or have the income 3 times as much. So if your rent is, let's say, $1,000, which is on average for a 1 bedroom, they want you to make at least 3 times as much. And a lot of people don't have it like that.
Right. No. Well, it's as I say, we're gonna pause this for a second, and I'm gonna pull up a clip. Well, actually, let's go to what we have in front of us first. Okay, if you see
Okay.
what's in front of right here, we have immigration by country. Now, let's just go to the very first one that we see, the United States of America. These these numbers that you see, folks, were compiled as of December of 2022. So you look at the number one place where immigrants go to. It doesn't say from the southern border. It just says immigration. 50 million folks have come to this country this year seeking a better life, as they call it. In comparison, number two, Germany, 15.8 million. We've what is that? Almost quadruple, triple the amount of folks that we've
Yeah,
taken
in
in.
fact, if you add, yeah, if you add all these up, it equals to United States.
The
And
United States, just the
they said,
top
walk
four.
here.
Right, right. If you go to what? Let's look at the top four. We got the United States at 50 million. You've got Germany at 15 million. You've got Saudi Arabia at 13 million. You've got Russia at 11 million. Those, you add those up. I don't think you're getting. Are you getting close to? You ain't got close to 50 million yet, have you? I'm looking. That's what, 39 million.
Right.
A quick math. A little close to 40 million.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
right now, with all those people coming into our to our country, what do you tell? How do you defend? This is for the politicians. How do you defend taking care of these people, but not taking care of our veterans, our homeless, our folks of lesser of lesser need of low income? How can you justify bringing in 50 million people, giving them work vouchers, giving them a place to stay? Yeah, it's a southern border problem, but it doesn't say on this chart right here, it's just from the southern border, does it? It says overall.
Doesn't.
See, we like to watch the news, Shar, and of course, in the big cities, they it's they feature what they want to. They feature the brown people. That's the
Right.
plague. That's the immigration plague that we have from the southern border. But this number right here does not say coming in from Mexico.
It doesn't. And hopefully you can see in the picture what these people are. You're going to see it's a long way if they had to walk. They
Right,
probably ain't got no feet left.
right. Right. So again, you remember back about this time, and I have a little clip on that a little bit later on. About this time last year, Ron DeSantis from Florida pulled this stunt to where he flew some migrants out from another state to Martha's Vineyard. It just took 50 migrants. Although they were of legal status, they still were, looking for a political asylum. They had made it through that process. So Ron DeSantis decided the best thing for him to do was to go do what? Let's put them on a plane to Martha's Vineyard. Let's send them there. I wonder if those 50 migrants are still in Martha's Vineyard. Sure. You
How
think?
did it work out?
I don't think it worked out very well for the migrants. Of course, the first couple of days there was an outpour of give them something to eat, give them some shelter, but y'all can't stay here. Now that was a year ago. Let's do the math. Let's do the math right quick, folks. Let's do the math. They took 50 migrants in a week there, 1 week. It's 52 weeks in a year, right? Let me see how good my math is. 52 weeks in a year, right? They took 50 migrants every week to Martha's Vineyard.
Yes.
At the end of the year, I think it would be somewhere around 2650 amount of migrants that's been taken to Martha's Vineyard, right? That's in 1 year. Some of them people,
say so.
Right? Some of them people, right? Some of them folks are pregnant. So a little population increase of the migrants because there's gonna be some little ones there. Some of them gonna get pregnant. You can't stop people from You can't stop people from doing the nasty. So the original 26, let's say we added another 50 to 60 newborns or new babies. Now you got 2,800. Let's do that for 5 years. You think the people at Martha's Vineyard would put up with that? No. So why would they expect the people of Chicago, New York, and all these other sanctuary cities to do that? It's a case of simple math, if you ask me, folks. It's a case of simple math. Just that simple. Imagine all them people coming to your town. 11,000, 12,000 people coming to your town every week for an entire year. Some of them coming there to look for jobs. Some of them coming there to look for homes. Where they gonna put you at? If the government's helping them out,
they have to stay somewhere.
Right. If the government's helping them out, sure, and if it's like Section 8, if the government give them Section 8, guess what? Who the landlord gonna choose?
That new Section 8 voucher.
Okay, I know I'm gonna get my money from the government. Right or wrong?
Exactly.
Right, and then guess what? They can also jack up the price.
Yep, get the maximum.
Right. Also, I did as I was talking about that, as I was looking at that, I wondered, sure, what was the median income for the average person in Martha's Vineyard? Because one of the clips that I ran into, the guy said, we're just average working class citizens here. Average working class citizens. So I went and saw what the median income was. On the low, 77. On the high, at least 6% of the people that live in Martha's Vineyard make upwards of 139 plus. But they poor.
Okay. They weren't having it.
No, they wasn't having it. You know damn well they wasn't going to. You're not bringing down the property value here. Let's go back to those numbers that I brought you, folks. In 1 year, there would have been 2,600 migrants there in Martha's Vineyard. They would have had babies. The next year, there would have been another 2,600. And the next year, another 2,600. Let's keep doing the math. All of them folks would have had babies. Some of them anyway, not all of them. Now you got a whole population. So imagine 11,000 folks coming into your town. That affects the grocery stores. That affects the hospitals. That affects the police department. That affects social services, the fire department, the schools,
Everything.
everything,
Crime.
crime, everything. Do you think them folks at Martha's Vineyard,
Folks don't have shots.
You think they would have had that going on for long in Martha's Vineyard?
No, that wasn't gonna work out.
You think them folks at Martha's Vineyard would allow them to, as they called it, some folks called it graffiti art. You think they would allow that to go upside the store in Martha's Vineyard?
Not at all.
Or across a railroad trestle? MX-13. The Barrio Boys. The Russian Mafia. We got our own gangs. We don't need to import none.
Because you don't know who these people are.
You don't. And half of them are not.
You really don't.
There's no way, folks, that you can tell me. No disrespects to my brown brothers and sisters, but y'all got an ass of a bunch of last names: Hector, Rodriguez, Ramirez, Flores. Am I wrong?
You know, they might change their name.
Right.
Change their name when they get here.
Right.
It's gonna be Jones.
Right. What's your name? My name is Alex Jones. Huh?
Yeah, you can start all over.
I thought your name was
America.
Right. I thought your name was Manuel Dudley.
I have no papers.
Shots fired.
No paperwork. No paper.
For those in the YouTube streets, y'all know I put something across the bow just now. I shouldn't have, but I did.
Pew, pew, pew.
But let me see if I can go down here just a little bit farther there, y'all. Let me click onto this next page here. As you can see, we're gonna run down the list here. You got United States at number 1. You got Germany. You got Saudi Arabia. You got Russia. You got the UK. You got the United Arab Emirates. You got France, Canada, Australia, and rounding out the top 10 is Spain. Folks, if you go from 2 to damn near 6, is when you get to that 50 million that came to this country. From number 2 to number 6 on this list still doesn't damn near add up to how many folks come to this country every year seeking a better way of life. Well, it ain't here, damn it. Not with all of y'all coming.
These numbers. I want to know.
Let me see if I can. This is of course, is an independent, certified, whatchamacallit, the wise voter it's called, and it has all kinds of data reports, state trackers, county trackers, and of course business. So, as a matter of fact, you can even see it by map. They do it all, folks. So these boys ain't joking. They got the numbers for you. You can even highlight it in red. Right, see there? They got it by country.
Gee.
You can pull it up right there. So you know somebody spent a lot of time doing the research on it. They just didn't pull up the Monahan report. Pow, pow! More shots.
Pew, 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 pew.
But let me pause this for a quick second, Shar, and then I'm gonna go and pull up our first visual clip. But as you can see, folks, the United States is leading the pack, 50 million. All right, Shar, we had a little faux pas in that. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm gonna try and pull up another clip here. And this is from, are you familiar with the Oak Park area of Chicago?
Yes, it is beautiful and some $1 million historical homes.
Okay, so with that, folks, coming from someone that lives in the area, we're going to start this. We're going to bring up this clip of some folks that live in the Oak Park area, and we'll have a take a listen to that. Y'all take a listen to this clip, and we'll be right back after this. All right there, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back right quick like, and Char, I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing on the other side of the screen. I hope you can, and I hope you can hear me. But this is from the Oak Park area. Officials tell migrants they must move. So let's take a listen to this, folks.
It was just 3.5 weeks ago the village of Oak Park agreed to allocate an additional $1 million to continue housing a group of over 160 migrants that were brought in from Chicago's 15th District Police Station during a Halloween Day snowfall. With that funding set to run out by February the 6th, the village yesterday sent out a letter to most of them telling them they must move in January. They gave us the letters last night when we went to pick up our dinner, says Milagros de Marquez, who along with her husband and 3 children has been living at the Carlton Hotel for 5 weeks now. The hotel, the YMCA, and Grace Episcopal Church are the 3 locations migrants have been living at in Oak Park. So far, it appears the 25 men located at the church may be safe in terms of housing, but those who support them worry whether the wraparound services they get from the village continue.
Mental health, physical health, immigration help, all of that is men healthy and sane, especially as the winter months come upon us.
In its memorandum laying out their decision, the village said the village may be able to help us relocate to another city or state if they have access to stable housing available in that location. If anyone is unable to identify another option, the village will help individuals and families enter the Chicago Shelter Program in January 2024.
But what does that even mean? I don't think it's that simple. Chicago is also at capacity.
Oak Park trustee Ravi Parakat saying today the village stepped into a problem that is way bigger than itself.
We are able to create a long-term path for these migrants, and we've done that at potentially the expense of them getting better service and better opportunities through Chicago.
A 7:30 meeting has been called by the impacted migrants and some of the volunteers helping them, during which they hope to obtain some additional clarity as to their path moving forward.
Watch breaking news.
So I don't know exactly how much of that you could understand back and forth there, Char, but it seems to me Chicago, even in the more affluent areas, is having a problem with these migrants just coming in and, in essence, bringing down the property value. But I noticed they didn't really talk to any of our folks. So am I correct by saying there's not a whole lot of black people that live in the Oak Park area?
And those who do are wealthy as well. So you do have more palm color, and they weren't having it. They say you got to go.
Right. So let me ask you this: the majority of the migrants that's coming to Chicago, from far what you've seen, where are they located? Where do they put them at? And more lower income areas or more affluent areas of the city?
I would say low income areas and mid-range.
And
that's where they normally put them.
Right, and as a resident of Chicago, and it's you don't have to answer it if you want to, but how does that affect your day-to-day living in the city?
Well, you see them. They're in the well, I don't want to say in the street, but you see them along the sidewalks. Sometimes just be women and the children, and they'll have a sign up and they're trying to sell you candy. Some of the little children, they'll walk up to you trying to sell candy. There are some that are sleeping on the trains, riding from the airport from one end to the other end of the city. There's a lot of shoplifting that's going on. So when you're doing your shopping or whatever, you can feel when someone's not doing right because they always in teams, two or
Right.
more. So you feel it and you see it, and it feels some kind of way about it too.
Right. I would imagine so. So I mean, it's not only when we hear it in the news, and of course we hear the politicians talk about it, but to hear it firsthand. And so if just imagine if you think that way, just imagine what the folks in New York are thinking and all these sanctuary cities. Now I'll ask you, as someone that lives in one of these sanctuary cities, what do you think should be done with the migrants?
Well, if they were able to stay here for a while because it was, well, you know what? There's a lot of misinformation, and then there is some the truth, and they're not really telling the truth that this is planned. That's just the bottom line. This is actually orchestrated and planned from the government. So let's say if we go with the narrative that, oh, they just, they're seeking asylum and they need some place to go, we're trying to help them. Well, if that was all true, um, why is it that you're only putting them in particular places? If you really have that heart, why don't you put them in a cleaner or a more affluent area where there's more resources?
Hmm.
Why don't you do that instead of taking the resources from others?
And that's an excellent point. So again, not of course not saying that you are not. I'm just everything that when I speak to you, it kind of it's kind of a hypothetical situation. But say if you were in need of some type of governmental services, whether it be a food voucher or a medical voucher or whatever it is that's offered social services up there, how hard would it be for you to get those services right away?
It would be harder. I would kind of say the lines are longer, but there actually are no lines because there's a lot of cutoffs. Um, Closed list,
Hmm.
it's just not available to you. Um, they're telling people to go to food pantries. Um, what I've seen a few more things. But what I find also interesting is churches that are supposed to be what non-profit.
Hmm.
I don't see them being involved with this. I don't see what a city is saying. Hey, can you help out? That them tithes and offering.
Right.
Can you
So
help people
right.
out?
So right. So that really become to the definitely you see the definite as they say the separation between church and states where the church should be one of the very first places. It seems to me in some of the clips that I've seen, some of the churches are fighting tooth and nail to keep the migrants out of their churches. Am I correct by in my assumption?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of them. They
Right.
are.
Right. So I'm gonna pause this again, and I'm gonna pull up another clip here, and we'll try and play it, and then we'll go through it, and you let me know exactly what you can and can't hear, and we'll discuss it from there. Okay.
Okay.
And should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
But the South Side has been under-resourced, underfunded for years, for decades. We have schools that need to be reopened. We have buildings that are abandoned that need to be business operated.
The group says the city has abandoned its Invest Southwest initiative, a Lightfoot-era program that was dedicated to reversing decades of disinvestment on Chicago's South and West Sides, promising to align more than $2.2 billion in private funding.
We are taxpayers, we're property owners. Our money should go towards fixing our communities.
The city has received more than 1,000 migrants since August 2022.
We have no more room. Y'all are embarrassing Chicago as a whole.
According to analysis by the ABC7 data team, there have been 20 active migrant shelters across the city, 7 located on the South and West sides.
Whether it's one shelter or whether it's 10 shelters, we're saying the facilities that are there for us The money needs to be put into those facilities for us.
In a statement from the mayor's office about the group's concerns and the status of Invest South, spokesperson says in part, quote, "We are committed to continued investment for all residents, but especially communities on the South and West sides that have long experienced disinvestment. We are the city of Chicago, and our shoulders are big enough to support both new arrivals and those who have long called this city home."
Mayor Johnson, the black aldermen, the black alderwomen in this city, you will stand for the black citizens of Chicago.
Now, the city says Mayor Johnson knows firsthand the impact of neglect on a vulnerable community and that he will never stop investing in people, all people, and delivering the affordable housing, fully funded schools, safer streets, and living wages that every person deserves in this city.
So what do you think about what you just heard, Char? I mean, the mayor and all that saying that, you know, that the city's big enough to take on the migrants along with the folks of the South Side. Because what we just heard from the folks in Oak Park is much different from what we heard from the people that live in the South Side. And it tends to lead to what you said, that the migrants are there. There's 20 different migrant in places where the migrants are dropped off. Imagine 11,000 in one place, 9,000 in another place, another 11,000 here, another 11,000 here, but it's all based in black neighborhoods. I'll just go ahead and say it, or surrounding black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
The resources, it's impossible for the resources to be generated and served when you're given a group of people that just came there everything they need to survive, but you refuse to give it to the people that's been there, that's struggling on a day-to-day basis. That does not make sense to me in the city of Chicago.
Well, he said that you know, his shoulders are big enough. He actually mean his pockets. You know, his pockets are big enough to receive funding from the government as long as, you know, that's coming through and the taxpayers are paying their taxes. Hey, he can shoulder that burden. Of course he can.
Right. So
Because
what?
that's all it is. This is definitely a money play.
Right. So it's more. You would think the mayor of is better or worse than? Is this the mayor that beat Lightfoot?
It is.
Okay. So and as far
It
as
is.
in the comparison of the two mayors, which one is better or worse for Chicago?
Well, this one only been in office, what, 7 months? And people wanted to get rid of him about 4 months ago, so it ain't looking good.
Right. So how long was the former mayor in office before she got deposed? Some years.
She had 4 years.
4 years, and in those 4 years
It was
of her,
4 years.
right, in those
Yeah.
4 years of her being in office, did y'all have a migrant problem?
No, I think they started really coming in maybe near the end of her term. But that wasn't the big, you know,
Right. So
that
she,
wasn't the headline at
right.
the time. The
So
headlines was other things.
right. So she was. So the migrants started coming in when she was pretty much in a lame duck, as they call it, about to leave office anyway.
Yeah, whether she knew it or not.
Right. So my next thing is I hear it all the time. Well, you know, with all the migrants here, it's going to be it's helping build the economy of said place, because these people, they come in there and they want to work, but you know, and they take the jobs for people that necessarily don't want them. So I'll ask you, on the average, what does the average, if you know, what does the average person like that migrant get paid?
That I don't know, but I would like to know what these jobs are, because every time these children or the, you know, school age kids, teenagers, they want to earn some money, and every time they go to, you know, the mall and different places, everything is taken. I mean, so a lot of kids are not able to work, and then when it comes down to summer and they have a summer program, they're not even giving them anything but maybe 15 to 20 hours a week, if that. So if you don't have work for the people that's already here talking about the teenagers. What jobs are you talking about for people that just walked in the door?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right. So let me pull up. I'm gonna pause this again, and I'm gonna try and find that clip that I have about the folks going to Martha's Vineyard. So y'all give me just a second, and I'll be right back after this.
A surge of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border has choked the country's immigration system. Over the last...
All right there, Shaw. I don't know, again, how much of that you heard, but yeah, you see what the Florida governor did. To me, they went and found some migrants that had some sort of legal status, took them to Martha's Vineyard, dropped them off on the side of the road at the price of $12,000 per head. Now, a total of $68,000. But again, how many of those migrants are still in Martha's Vineyard? And my next question to you, how much sense did it make to take those people from the southern border, where they came in from, and take them all the way to Martha's Vineyard if it was not for a political stunt? And another question that I have for you, why are there so many? Where is Chicago is it considered the Midwest?
Yes.
Why is these 11,570 some immigrants that's coming into to our country from the southern border? How are they ended up in Chicago? It's got to be
like to know.
Got to be some money behind it.
What's going on? Yes, because let's go. I got to talk about Jose there now. He said he hungry.
Right.
You know, they wanted some food. They were hungry, and you get a card, a $10 gift card for McDonald's, but you didn't use it.
He wasn't that hungry, was he?
What was that all about?
Right. He wasn't that hungry, was he?
Exactly.
Right. He wasn't that hungry. Listen, when them folks got on that plane, did they look like they were any worse for wear? Sorry.
No. They're all lined up, thumbs up.
They look clean, look right. Right. Look like they were going on a field trip.
Yes, because that's what it was.
Stunt. Now, if they want to cause, if they want to call something a false flag operation for all you Republicans out there, that's a false flag operation. I think those were paid actors.
Yep.
Just me personally.
They were too well groomed.
Absolutely.
They were just too well groomed.
Absolutely. It's just like somebody on the side of the street holding up a "We'll work for food" sign. Listen. Your shoes are too damn clean for you to tell me you've been out here for the last week.
Okay.
I know a homeless person when I see one. I know a person in despair when I see one. Sorry, you might be in despair, but you don't fit the category of catching a plane to Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
Now, my question would have been to the governor of Florida. With all the hell that's going on in Florida, what would make you want to stick your nose into that business? To go to another state, offer up Florida's resources, then you're going to talk about it's voluntary. No, it's not. There was nothing voluntary about that. We now know that was a stunt that cost money. So how much money, this is a question that you can ask your governor, Shaw, how much money is lining your pockets to bring all these migrants into into your city? How much are you getting?
Right. There's got to be a cut. Got to be getting a cut.
Somebody getting something. Somebody getting something. And another thing, you live in Chicago. It's I've been telling y'all you should move anyway, but I would imagine it ain't it's not a cool, chilly, warm summer night in Chicago right about now.
Well, it's pretty cool for the middle of December. 44 degrees, I must say.
44.
Oh yeah,
That's a
that's
big.
like summer to Chicago.
No.
We normally 14
Well,
degrees.
well, I would guess so, but okay, let's use that. It gets 14 degrees. You got people living in a park. That's not. That's not very humanitarian. What's the purpose of bringing some people somewhere, dropping them off, and you know that there is no resources there for them to live? A tent is not going to do it in the Chicago weather. 14, 15 degrees.
Hey, this was a bright idea of the mayor, and he said something about tents gonna have some heat.
Your tent's going to have some heat.
Yeah, it's gonna have some type of heating device.
Okay.
We'll have to look that up.
So again, take more resources from the citizens of Chicago and the area over there to make it more give these folks a better life. Listen, I'm not against the folks that are looking for seeking a better life, folks. It is what it is. I understand that, and that's not just the southern border, but it's funny that we're talking about these folks, the brown folks. So that's what it is. I have nothing against my brown folks, but I'm more for my own folks, my dark-skinned folks, my black folks. I'm with them, and I see there's a lot more stuff from just from what I've seen in the news that the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago could be doing for its black and brown citizens, but instead of giving this money we're putting this money to where it's needed, they've taken on a migrant crisis that they didn't really need to. Because to be quite honest with you folks,
and since they allowed it,
go ahead, Char.
Since they allowed it, I don't even want to use the word crisis.
Right, it's that's shooting yourself in the foot, isn't it?
I think so.
Right. Because listen, whether you want to say it or not, that it's not like that in South Carolina. Hold on, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to pause this again, and I'm going to go pull up a clip, folks. I'm going to show y'all exactly why it's not like this. Y'all can call this the Good Old Boy Network if you want to, but we ain't got that problem here. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Governor McMaster, state lawmakers put cities on notice.
What we want them to know is that this is a place where there will not be a sanctuary city of any kind.
The governor promising new legislation that would check the immigration status of anyone charged with a crime. He said a bill to be sponsored by State Representative Bruce Bannister of Greenville would pull a portion of a city's state funding if they fail to comply.
The effective date is 2019. We are anticipating that SLED will work with Homeland Security and come up with a consistent way to measure whether these cities are following the law.
The governor's announcement was met with criticism from Republican challenger Catherine Templeton. Sanctuary cities should be outlawed, she said, and that is why they already are in South Carolina, referring to a law passed in 2011 by Governor Nikki Haley while Templeton was labor secretary that banned sanctuary cities. And there was this reaction from Lieutenant Governor Kevin Bryant of Anderson, who was also running for governor. We don't have any sanctuary cities, he said, but there is no harm in safeguarding that South Carolina will never have one.
Fixing the roof after it started raining is not the right time to be fixing the roof.
McMaster says now is the time to take on sanctuary cities before they appear.
You see what I'm talking about? This was 6-7 years ago in South Carolina. It said, we ain't having that shit. Not here. We don't have that migrant problem here in South Carolina because they took care of that 6-7 years ago. If you come here illegally, if you come here undocumented, if you come here unvetted, it's not the migrants that's going to pay. It's the companies or it's the state that's going to pay. We're going to cut your funding. Is that happening in Chicago, Sharp?
It would be nice if that was.
Right.
We have them shoplifting, doing criminal things, and they don't even hold them and release them.
You hear what our folks said. I mean, you didn't see, you didn't see. Only the palm colored folks are saying, "Don't bring that shit down here, down here to South Carolina." We got our own problems.
Okay, don't even
No,
think about it.
and then this was 2019. 2019 when they put in that referendum and it passed and fine with fine colors, folks. That's why Charleston, South Carolina, Spartanburg, Greenville, and all these towns, you're not going to walk down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning and see an influx of migrants from the southern border just laid out. You're not going to go to Charlestown Landing and find that's where the migrants are encamped at. You're not going to go to the Battery in Charleston, South Carolina and find out that's where the migrants got dropped off at. That's not happening. Not here. And I hate to say it, but the governors of South Carolina and those folks, the powers that be, they had the forbearance of thought to say this was going to be a problem. Okay. We don't need your money down here. We got ways of handling shit. We don't need your money. But what do you think is the solution, Shar?
Send them back to the border, because I've seen folks climbing fences, cutting the fences, and all kind of stuff. But like I said, I know this is orchestrated. There's no way you got, because, you know, the people went undercover. Some actually YouTube channels sent people out and using drones and everything, showing where the people are helping them over the fence and through the fence, and have them lined up, and the buses coming in at certain times to take them different places. So it's all orchestrated.
And you're absolutely right. It has to be, because look, the migrants, they don't have money to pay for the bus fare, right? They got to eat. You know, I'm sure that, you know, of course, some of these women of childbearing ages, so I'm sure that there's stuff that women need, they have to have. Am I correct?
True. You're correct. And if you don't have it today, one day I hope you do it. Show some of the videos of them on the bus and just look at them. The ones that are sitting on the bus, look at their hair, look at their clothing, and look that they have a cell phone.
Yeah, right. If you're a migrant, what you got a cell phone for? Where you paying the bill at?
And it's charged up.
Right. Where you getting it charged up from? It's again.
Don't you have to have a you have to be set up for that.
Right, you're absolutely right, Charles. It's the little things that people don't pay attention to, and they'll start making sense to you. Listen, we're not the residents of Chicago, the residents of New York, the residents of Arizona, and all these sanctuary cities, San Francisco. Listen, folks, they're not being evil. Just start pointing out some things here. Listen, you got these folks that's on these so-called these missions of mercy, but these folks got cell phones. They got access to the internet. They give them jobs. But we got veterans here, that folks that literally fought wars. They can't get the health care that they need. We've got indigent people that can't go to the hospital. How many cases have we heard of people dying outside of hospitals because they simply didn't have insurance?
And don't get me started with a plane ride. When I go to airport, my middle name better be on that ticket, better match my ID.
Okay.
These people don't know ID and can get on the darn plane
on a plane, right?
To the next.
How do you get through the TSA? How do you vet these people when you don't even know that the name that they're using is giving you is correct? Because most of when they come through the border, the last thing they have on them is identification. Let me take my wallet with me just in case. I don't think that happens, do you?
I hope you have that footage. Cause if you have some footage, you would see what I see. I see chains, gold chains, silver chains, earring, piercings, tattoos. You seem to be doing pretty well.
Right. Let me pause this again, Sharon, and let me see if I can pull up one of them clips where these folks is on the bus here. Hold on just a second, all right? We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
mí me dijeron que este país era diferente. Pero no.
As Karina Abando walks her son to school, the clock is ticking. The 38-year-old migrant from Ecuador moved into the Row Hotel, now a New York City shelter, 3 weeks ago, but now she needs to find a new home. Hers is one of thousands of migrant families in New York's shelter system that have been told they need to clear out and either reapply for shelter housing or find their own way in the coming weeks.
Yo le dije a mi hijo que aprovechen, disfruten el hotel, que estamos con un techo ahorita, porque ya nos van a mandar. Ya nos van a mandar y vamos a estar ya a dormir en el tren o en la calle. Y mi hijo solo se puso a llorar y dijo, tengamos fe.
Mayor Eric Adams' office says some families will receive a holiday reprieve, but no decision has been conveyed to many of the more than 3,000 families that have been issued notices so far. Ana Vasquez, a 22-year-old from Venezuela, is 8 months pregnant. She recently received her notice to leave the Row Hotel by January 8th, less than 2 weeks after her baby is due.
Pediríamos acá al hotel que nos dejen. Si no nos dejan, pues no sé qué haríamos. No tenemos como un plan de escape si no podemos alquilar. Es difícil la situación. Y más con un bebé.
The first wave of New York's migrant families was expected to reach their 60-day shelter limit just days after Christmas. The city, overwhelmed by asylum seekers, has warned there's no guarantee they'll get to stay in the same shelter or even in the same part of the city.
Those families are panicked right now. They could be hours from the closest school or the school that they are currently enrolled in. All of the services and the connections and the community that they've been building in the place where they currently are, all of that could go away.
Many families fear they will have to go through the same process as single adult migrants who line up in the early mornings to petition for a new shelter stay. Some are able to secure 30 more days, others cannot.
We are here every day. People are here every day. Even if you get a shelter, it's for a short time, like 30 days. It means you are not even going to sleep. Because every single day you are waiting for the guard to come to wake you up to tell you, listen, tomorrow you need to leave. You need to leave.
Obando's 19-year-old son and his wife have already been forced to leave the Row Hotel. On January 5th, she fears her and her 2 younger sons will meet the same fate.
Como madre, me duele. Está durmiendo en el tren, en la calle, con frío. Y sí me duele mucho. Y ya mismo nos toca a nosotros también.
David Martin, The Associated Press, New York.
But, Shar, just like you said,
Yes.
y'all got to go. I'm sorry, but you got to go. We can't afford you to take care of you anymore. But, again, with some of the stuff you pointed out, I'm sure that a lot of these migrants did not come to New York with bomber coats, bomber jackets, winter coats. Where'd they get it from? Where'd they get a stroller from? Where'd they get the luxury of living in a hotel in New York? Damn near rent free. I know we have a mutual.
Yeah, and they don't seem too happy that they're told to move.
Right. Okay, she's 22, but lady, you're 8 months pregnant. Did you ever think that this might be the good time to practice either abstinence or might want to use a condom? Because the last thing you need right now is to bring a baby into this world. But that begs another thing. If that child is born on this soil, what is it? It's an American citizen.
America.
That's right. It's an American citizen. Before we wipe up, let's just go back to just one more thing about the folks at Martha's Vineyard. Now, again, think about this, you folks at Martha's Vineyard, and for all of y'all that talking about don't have any sympathy for the folks of Chicago and all these other sanctuary cities. Put yourself in the idea of Martha's Vineyard. They started with 50. In 5 years, it would have been well over 30,000 folks, migrants. That's not including babies. That's just folks that they brought there. What do you think would happen to Martha's Vineyard in 10 years? It wouldn't be a vacation spot, would it?
Be a migrant venue.
So if that's going on there, those numbers like that I just point out to you, if that happens in a place called Martha's Vineyard, imagine what it's like, Char, in your town. And we have a mutual friend that lives in New York area, and we had our conversation, and she mentioned kind of the same thing. But it's not only you and her mentioning, this other folks that's mentioned, wait a minute, this migrant shit, this ain't good. Because y'all not taking these migrants to white neighborhoods.
And let me say this too. They mentioned children may have to go to another school. Now let's talk about the school. Now, what is one of the big things that is talked about when it comes down to city public school? That there's overcrowded. There's not enough teachers.
Not enough teachers.
Funding,
That's right.
Not enough books.
That's right.
So what you gonna do with all these folks? Because they got kids. All these children. Where you gonna put them at? In the gym room, and say, just sit in the gym and we gonna go teach you everything there.
Right. Again, if the folks in Martha's Vineyard that's making the median income is $77,000, they don't want the immigrants. What makes you think that the Chicago mayor? What's his name? Adams. What's his name again?
Brandon Johnson.
Oh, Johnson or Adams, both. I think Adams is in New York. That's right. But what do you think people that are just either struggling or just barely making ends meet? Now you bring in a whole influx of people who will take any job just to make ends meet. So guess what that's going to do? That's going to tell an employer, I don't need to pay you $15, $16, $17, $18, $20, $19, $20. I got somebody to do it for $10.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Yep, and it's an at-will state too.
That's right.
We can just let you go.
Come in with the wrong shirt, huh? You gone. Before we close up, Char, any last words before we get on up out of here?
Wear your mask again.
Hate to say it. It ain't gone, is it? It ain't gone, folks. Believe it or not. It's just not in the news anymore. There's other things going on in the news. But COVID's not gone. It's just it's like the flu. It's here forever now. It is what it is. It's not going to be eradicated. Somebody always going to die from it. Wear your mask. Me personally, I don't go to the store without it. I don't do it if I have a live show. I never take my mask off. Just stay over there. I can hear you. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, Char, it's been great. We got to do this more often. We got definitely got to come back next week. We can talk about this again. See what the migrant crisis is like in your town. Keep sending me those clips, and we'll definitely play them. I want to keep this around an hour, whatever. Don't because people be like, they're talking about immigration. I ain't got time for all of that. But just to let folks know, there's more going on than the shenanigans of who's sleeping with who in the YouTube streets. Agree?